Kia ora everyone. My real claim to fame is walking down the main street of Taupo. Pretty wide street. When I was a young fella, my fingers in my gun belt. You know, I was my cousin Baba Hedri. And every new kid that came to town, this is how the conversation went. Hey kid, what's your name? Oh, Jimmy. Jimmy who? Jimmy Harrison? Yeah, this is Ringo. Point to Bob. I'm Cisco. Those were the Cowboys of that day. This is our town. Got any sisters? I haven't changed much since. I still remember the show day when we go looking for the grey and whites. Mind you, someone changed their clothes. Oops. That's a good days. You'll remember these days very, very dearly over time, and the stories get better and better about them as you get older and so on. Auntie Henny, so lovely you're here. And all the other olds that are here with us. A couple of years old, we are old. You had a whole lot of stuff down here, but it seems like no use. I'm just really happy to be here. To congratulate you in the first instance. This school has done wonderful things. And it takes a lot of things to make a good school. It's got to have sincere support from the parents. They've got to sort of bow down to the circulars that they get, instructing them left, right and centre and all that, and go with the school board and the school principal's wishes to create the program that's making you so beautiful throughout Māoridom at this time. Your numbers are solid and strong and growing. Other Māori schools, the numbers are quite low, and we've had to introduce a new scholarship to build them up a bit. But what you're doing here is great. So girls, please don't stop doing that stuff. I just want to tell you how great we are as a people. Because there's a lot of flack out there, which is all blaming us for everything that goes wrong. And a lot of our people think all we are is poor. And that we're not achieving greatness. And we need this and we need that. And they see us as victims. We're not victims, people. Because your grandparents went through a time when we didn't have electricity in our homes. They went through a time where there was very little food, but there was always food. Sometimes a little bit scarce. All those things that people are talking about now were a mere pittance to 50 years ago, and 60 and 70 years ago, and so on. Grandparents walked all the way from the East Coast to Queen Victoria School to enroll their children. Walked, rode a horse pile away, and so on. Those were hard times. People shore sheep when they could, made fences, built fences for farmers, any work they could get after the war. And in the war, who were the heroes? Who were the front line? Who were the soldiers who were just given the rifle, trained in basic training, and told, go forward in the front line? It was the Māori battalion. And why did they go? They volunteered. Why did they volunteer? Because they had that whānau sense of loyalty to their country, to their people, and they volunteered. So at not much more than your age, sometimes younger, they left these shores to fight. And as you know, we have amongst the highest casualty rates of any group that went to fight in World War II. And we've got a VC, Lieutenant Moana Ngārimu. He's still on the hill with his team and fought off the attack. Still they came, still they stood there. Be flying on behalf of us, giving in and not giving in. You know what happened? Lieutenant Narumu ran out of bullets. So he picked up stones and he threw stones. And they shot him dead. I told that story to Māori Rugby League team. It was my honour to be presenting the jerseys, number 12, so-and-so. They knew, what are they? And he was jersey. That meant they were playing against England. And then I told that story to them. So off they went full of courage. Half time was about 20-0 to England. So they got in there and had karakia at half time. And they talked about my talk. The final score, 20-all. And they came up to me in the lounge. But then I was probably drunk from the first half. And they came up so proud and they said, Papa, we threw stones. We threw stones today. And it's a good story because it's true. We can follow other people's example of just persevering and staying in there. When I went to England for the first time, I walked down, I don't know where it was, Piccadilly I suppose, and every statue I knew. I knew those people, I could tell, that's a rally, or Borrelio, that's something else. Westminster Avenue, there's two partuckers here, they are, all this sort of thing. I just knew everything. I knew the streets, not just from Monopoly, but I knew the streets of London. And it just, I knew it, all those tenement houses like Coronation and all that, all here. And I said, why do I know this place? Even the whiteness of the people, they were a different shade of white. Like your bell. No, I came back thinking, oh, fuckers are pretty brown over here. It was all a shock. And one of the biggest shocks was how poor they were. England is quite poor. Just know that. So shit, they're not too bad, huh? But then I thought, why do I know all this stuff about England? When back home, I was in Auckland then, none of those Pākehās know who Te Whatiāpiti was. Kikiri o Karani. They don't know I descend from kings and queens. They don't know we lived and we did big battles. Just like that. Where is it in our history? It's not there. I was so angry, I rang up my Tongan friend who was in the Tongan embassy, doing payroll, anyway, listen there. And we got drunk. Commiserating on that point. 2 days later, we emerged. So I just want you to know that I was so depressed over in the other side of the world because of what I knew about that place, and yet back home, Pākehā had not learned about me and you and our history, our people. Because when we came here, the only knowledge on these islands was Maori knowledge, Mātauranga Maori, how to mend a broken arm, how to whāngai people, how to adapt a kumara from out on the sea side inland, how to build a house, karakia, how to protect law and order. All that knowledge was Maori knowledge. No other knowledge was here except that knowledge. And it survived hundreds of years. And here we are today. Furthermore, we've overcome colonization. Colonization was a thing that really thrashed us. A lot of our ancestors from the different parts of New Zealand were killed, taken prisoner, taken to build walls somewhere, all that kind of stuff. It was so bad that that's why at least this government, these governments of New Zealand over recent years have this treaty settlements to try and make up for some of that colonization. Other countries, the native people of North America, nothing given back to them. The Ainu people of the Eskimo land, nothing given back to them, except the parliament, which has no voice. and things like this, but we have stayed strong and we've emerged. So we are not victims. We are definitely not victims. We are, in fact, the leaders of Aotearoa, and we are making a difference all the time. I want to read this page to you. Thousands of years before Cook or Tasman, our tipuna established civilizations stretching from Papua New Guinea in the west, Hawaii in the north, Rapa Nui in the east, and Aotearoa in the south. At the helm of the earliest and one of the greatest ocean migrations in the history of the human race, they succeeded by using pioneering, advanced scientific knowledge and technology. These amazing ancestors of ours were marine engineers. They built craft, crafting what were the world's most technologically advanced open seafaring vessels. The first vessels that could handle the Pacific Ocean. They were marine biologists, attuned to the meaning behind the motion of the wave, the passing of a bird, all of that knowledge they had. They were astronavigators, and they still are today. That knowledge has come back to us. Our waka are sailing, men and women, across to other islands now. No engine on there. Te waka. Just that knowledge, the same knowledge that brought them south from Asia down this way. So they were actually using the science of astronomy, entire communities, bringing them across millions of square miles down this way. They were horticulturalists, geographers, mathematicians, meteorologists. They were environmental experts, social anthropologists, and civil engineers. That's what they were. They were amazing, our ancestors. But ultimately, they were innovators. They were creators of things. The ultimate innovators of their time, who over 80 generations settled almost a third of the surface of the earth, which is the Pacific. And what is left now is us here. Cook Island people in Cook Island. Samoa in Samoa. Malaysia people in there. Taiwanese people in Taiwan. And so on. Came down, and we decided Aotearoa is our place. And the modern Māori has grown from those ancestors who had that knowledge. So I want you to know that we are not poor, we are innovators, we are people who change things. And you can see throughout the history, many of our famous people who have done things for Aotearoa have been Māori. And we should be proud. You would have noted in your school signs of those amongst some of your friends, how they're able to do stuff. But everybody can do stuff. So I invite you to think on what you'd like to do as you leave the school. Some of you are leaving this year, others are staying, and so on. And I want you to think about one thing. We have survived colonization. Other peoples of the world have not. They've either disappeared, their language has lost. We've fought back for our language. There was a law passed that you're not allowed to gather a crowd and have a wānanga with spiritual base. It's called the Tohunga Suppression Act. An act to suppress our priests, our leaders, in our culture. And because of that, carving, weaving, all those skills were underground. Mautaiana, all those things was forbidden to teach. And that act wasn't repealed until 1969. But we kept it. We weren't allowed to worship and acknowledge Tāne and things, as well as Jesus Christ, who was part of the Tohunga Suppression Act. Yet, what did we call our Māori battalion? Te hoko whitu o tū matawera, the war party of two. the Māori God of war. So we kept that. We mihi to the whare. And all those things. That's still our old kaupapa. It doesn't make us any less Christian. It makes us more Christian because we incorporate our elders' beliefs with us. So, forget all that. What I really want to say to you today, if you want to make a mark in this world, you got to be cool. And by being cool, I mean you got to be cool. You got to know who you are, and nothing can faze you. Think on this. You're sitting in a lounge with a few people, mates mostly, and someone walks in the room and you change your behavior. Oh, what's wrong with you? Someone can walk in the room and you act different. Or whatever. Why? You know what that means? It just means you're not free. You're not free to be. When I said that to one group, I said, be what? I said, just to be. Yeah, be what? Be. Be you, to be. Free to be. So that no matter who walks in the room, oh gosh, that's fine, leave it at that. But once you start twisting around, getting an answer ready for a fight, or hating somebody, or something like that, you have a problem. It's not their problem, they may be what my friends would call a prick. Maybe somebody really who's a real pest, okay? But if you change your behavior for that pest, you're not free. You are hooked. You don't have it, man. You got no power. So think about that. When you get older and you have a partner, hopefully married, some kind of this, and then you have kids, and you have heard this in your house, maybe, little raised voices in the next room. But what are they arguing about? Who didn't take the rubbish bin out? Or whose job was it to pick up the photos? Or something like this. Man, that is so stupid. That is called a racket. That's called a racket. And you're carrying a racket about something which doesn't even matter. And it's not important as you being free and the relationship. Remember when you were little and you didn't care what you wore in the pools when you went swimming? You were just a little topper and you jumped into the water, got away from them, and then you ran down. Back up the other end. And someone said, don't go too deep. Stay on the side. Now, we go to the change room, put the old togs on, towel around the tops, and the lubba. Slink outside. See who's here? So therefore you got the far end of the pool and somehow you slide in. Now you can only see my face. And you feel cool. Instead of walking straight up like this. Watch me. Think about it. We spend too much time trying to be good, be right. You argue with somebody and you go, she's wrong, man. And you just carry on. Why? It's not really important. So I want you all to be powerful. I want you to think about that. You have the capacity and always the opportunity to be free. And when you're free, you don't have to agree with people or disagree with them. It's not even about that. It is about allowing people to have their opinion, their good behavior, their bad behavior, but as far as you're concerned, you're free and you're able to assist or whatever you want to assist. Clearly a lot of you have done that already and you've achieved in the exams and stuff, and I'm really proud of you. This is my best day of the weekend. I'm really glad to be here. Yeah, I'm so damn good. So kia ora everyone, that's us.